Well, hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Let's Talk Tuesday. Hi, you guys. I missed you last week, but I hope you all had a really, really good 4th of July. Hello, Courtney or Courtney, Courtney, Sam, Holly, William, Adam. So good to see you guys. Thanks for joining in and appreciate your being here and just being part of our Tuesday family. Excited for that. Hey, hi, Lindsay, Maggie. Hi, you guys. Good to see you. Hi, Robin. Glad you guys are here. Y'all look so cute. I mean, your pictures are cute. I don't know what you look like right now. You could literally be in your pajamas and I wouldn't know, but um, your pictures are awfully cute. Hi, Robin. Woodstock, Georgia. I love Woodstock. I've been there. I have a couple friends that live near there, and it's such a cute little area over there. It's wonderful. Laura Beth, Matthew. Hi, you guys. It's so good to see you. Matthew, you're looking handsome in your profile picture there. Um, so yeah, Robin, you probably do know them. I'm getting Holly. I love it. I love you. You freely admit you're in your PJs, and I would be too. But it's only 7:30 here, so it might be a little early. But you never know. William, thank you. He says congratulations on CW picking up the first 3 seasons of The Chosen. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? And thank you for that note. And if any of you guys are interested, that debuts this coming Sunday night on the CW. They're starting to air The Chosen. So our hope is that there will be a really strong response and that the CW will be happy that they made that decision and that they will be able to see that there is, in fact, an audience for that content on their platform, on their channel, on network TV. So that's our hope and our prayer. And so excited to see how that goes and what happens. But the first decision of them just picking us up is huge. So thanks for mentioning that. And yeah, excited to see what happens there. So good to see you guys. Cheryl McKay, yes, Cheryl McKay, Robin, exactly. In fact, I was visiting her I was visiting a couple other friends as well when I visited Woodstock, and it was wonderful. The Chosen on CW is wonderful, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty groundbreaking. So our hope is that that it really grabs hold and it proves to be a really good decision for them. Of course, what they care about is the business side of it. So that's kind of why we all need to understand and be aware of the business side of this business, entertainment business. And even though we're on the faith side of things, where our primary internally, our primary goal is to share stories that we think have value and that we think inspire and encourage others and will impact culture for the better. That's our internal goal in making these things, but we have to understand the business side of it because that's how it gets out there. That's how it gets out to be seen, to make that impact, right? If we want to impact culture, we want to impact and create change in the narrative that's out there, well, then we need to get out there. So I think it is really, we need to understand how to make projects and write projects and produce projects that are going to be able to have an audience and have a platform where it can be seen, because that's the way that the story has an impact, is by being seen. So whether that's, a purely faith driven story, um, and it's getting seen on a primarily faith driven platform like a PureFlix or something like that, or whether it's Great American Country, where they're very faith friendly, but there is a crossover available there, or it's CW, mainstream network television. Um, we just need to be really smart. We need to know those platforms um, and to know how those deals are structured. That's something that I'm really working on, because as I am kind of putting an eye towards producing a little bit on a couple of sort of passion projects that I have, I've got to learn those things. And I think it's good for all of us to learn and understand that, even as actors, to understand how those deals are structured. It'd be great for you to understand all of the areas of the deals that you enter into, and not just always rely on agents or reps to read through those things and handle that for you. Certainly, they're there to assist you and guide you and answer questions. But the more you know, the more proactive you can be about ensuring that the deals you enter into are fair, and at least you know what you're agreeing to, right? Um, so yeah, I hadn't planned on talking about that, but it just brings it up that the more business savvy we can be, I think that it's just better. There's no downside to it at all. And I think that it will serve us well in various opportunities. And it may allow us to see opportunities that we didn't see before, because our eyes are open to those areas and those things, where places where we can maybe get content, or we can develop content, or partners we can work with on that front. Let me
Hey y'all, so I am not Beverly Hallway, but I'm in the
Mm.
background and just letting you guys know she took a quick little exit and she's gonna come right back. Um, Good to see y'all. But she's gonna be coming right back, so just bear with her as she comes right back. What's up? What's up, Emily? What is going on? What is going on? Um, I can't stand technical difficulties, but Robin, what's going on? Hey, this is my man Adam. Adam with the best headshot at ICFF. Oh, I think we got Bev back. Okay, here we go. Yes, you're back.
Am I back?
Yes, bye y'all.
Diego for the win. Diego for the save. I love it. Sorry about that. That was kind of weird. Something kind of lagged. Honestly, I've been looking at new laptops because I think this one just isn't. It's trying. I think I can, but it's just not handling everything it needs to handle. But I have to say, you probably saw me laughing because what? Um, yeah, who was it? Someone said Mayday, Mayday. And I saw that it made me laugh. Anyway, okay, I'm back. Sorry, you guys. That was a bummer. Although you probably enjoyed talking to Diego. Um, yeah, he's the cool dude. He's awesome. Okay, so I have seen a few questions in there. So let me just get into questions. Okay, I'm going to go back and look. Um, I see Maggie, huge supporter of actors knowing every aspect of the business possible just opens more doors. I agree. And I know you're one of those people that's very proactive in what you're doing and that you're working in multiple areas, not just your acting side, but so I know you're one who's actually walking that talk for sure. So, um, okay, Diego, go ahead and pop up a question if you found one. Okay, Jace. Hi, Chase. Um, Giacomo. That's great. And your headshot's very serious. If you have a callback audition for a film shooting on X dates, should you still be submitting for projects also filming on X dates or wait until hearing back on callbacks? No, you should be submitting until it's a for sure thing. Absolutely. No one would expect you to stop submitting. Um, but be honest. So if you then got an audition and um, well, probably I don't think you need to tell them if you get an audition because again, you don't know what's going to be the end result. But if you're into like a final callback or a chem read, something like that, then that's when you would probably say, "Hey, I have this other project just so you know that I've been called back for as well." That would be the same dates. Um, because at that point, you know, you're in the more narrowed down group. And so it probably is important for you to make the producers or the casting director aware, um, just so that they can move forward, you know, however that means. So yeah. Um, yeah. Okay, Joanne, good to see you. Um, Question: if you aren't available for all days of filming, should you even bother to audition for a minor role? Absolutely. You just need to put a note or in your slate of your audition, just make sure they're aware of the dates you are not available. If you figure a shoot is 30 or 45 or 60 days, and you're auditioning for a role that's going to work 5 days, 6 days, out of that, chances are um, probably the odds are better that the dates would work than not. So I would say, as long as you tell them, the mistake is if you don't tell anyone that you have conflicts within the filming dates. But as long as you tell them and make them aware in your slate or in a note with your audition that you have conflict dates, then you're fine because they can either determine that the dates aren't going to be an issue with when they would potentially need that role, or they are, and then they won't, you know, move forward any further. And either way, it's good for you to do the audition because the audition is as much your work as the actually getting the roles, right? Continuing to do the auditions, to go through that work and through that process, that is a part of your job as an actor. So doing the audition even though there's a slight possibility that the dates may not work, as long as you've told them about the potential conflicts, doing the audition is always a good thing. Always a good thing. It's always good for you. Keep those muscles stretched. Keep yourself pushing and working and thinking and creating. I just think that's always a positive, always a good thing. How do I know when I need to increase my day rate? That's a tricky one, to be honest with you, because there are a lot of things that play into the rates that are set. Now, I think Diego and I were talking a little bit about understanding and believing in your own value, believing in what you're bringing to the table, and believing in, if you're someone who has a lot of experience and you are bringing either, some sort of name recognition or face recognition or a lot of experience to the table, then it is a balance between knowing um, between I'm waiting until the leg stops. Okay, I think I'm back. I was trying to wait until the lag stopped. I'm not sure what's going on, but Diego sent me a text, Mayday. Um, so it's a balance between believing in your value and believing in what you're bringing to the table, but also understanding that there are very real parameters around what the production can and can't do. So I think you need to be realistic. You need to know what the base rate is being posted for the project. If that's something you can't do, then you need to be aware of that, and either with your submission, make a note or have your agent make a note that says overscale only. I do see that sometimes. And honestly, sometimes it means I don't call them in, because if I know our budget is really, really tight and I don't have a lot of room to pay very many people over scale, then it may mean I don't call you in. So if you are going to mark your submission like overscale only, do that only if that really is the case. If you would be unwilling to accept anything but overscale, if you would be unwilling to accept scale, all right? And that is your right. That is your choice. You're the one who can set those boundaries. Now, I do think you need to have a very, very strong resume before you start kind of saying, hey, I need more than scale. And you need to have some precedence for demanding a certain rate. Oftentimes we'll be able to see why, that request is being made, because we can see your resume and see your work. And so, for example, the way the process goes is if I reach out, I want to book an actor, and we make the offer, and the offer's at scale, whatever the scale was that was posted on the breakdown for the project. And then the agent comes back and says, hey, we want to counter at this amount of money. Well, of course, I'll take that to the producers. I always do. But they will come back with one of three things. They'll either come back and say, that's okay, that person, we can see the value that that person brings, and so we will agree to that. Or they'll come back and say, sorry, we only have scale. It's all we have. It's no disrespect to the actor. And most of the time well, all the time that I know of, it isn't a disrespect thing. It's merely a budgetary thing. If they just don't have it, they don't have it. So they're not trying to say you're not worth something or disrespect you in any way, but if they don't have it, they don't have it. And then that becomes your choice. And if you ultimately say, hey, I just can't do it for that rate, again, that's your choice. and then, or the third thing would be something in the middle where there is a number that you could get to that would make sense, and that both parties can live with. But you kind of need to be prepared for all three of those scenarios. And just, negotiation is two-sided. So I'm kind of giving you, there are no secrets. I'm not giving you secrets, but I am telling you negotiation is two-sided. So, um, you have to go into, like, if I'm negotiating a deal, I have to go in knowing where my walk away point is, at what point I'm going to walk away. And I think you need to do the same thing if you're trying to negotiate for a higher rate. But again, I wouldn't do that until you have the resume and the work and the experience to back it up, because um, you don't want to get a reputation for someone who's like maybe a diva, or has unrealistic expectations for the work that you're booking. Um, that's where working with like a manager, um, and or your agent to help set those things. I never have an issue with someone asking, and then we'll just be honest and say we can or we can't, and then you can decide what you want to do with that. Um, so when Diego and I were talking, we were talking about the whole idea of, as Christians, right? We want to be humble. We want to not be braggart. We want to not be full of ego and talking about ourselves all the time. But we do need to know our value, and we do need to believe in that, because I think at a certain place, I'm a very different casting director than I was when I started my first 5 years, right? What I brought to the table those first few years was very minimal compared to what I can bring to the table now with almost 30 years of experience going in, working in this, genre especially. So, I can look at that and say, okay, I do have this experience, and just kind of um, be very confident with the things that I have done and that I have accomplished, and don't present that in an egotistical way, but just kind of, here's what I've built, right? Same thing for you guys. You are a very different actor, probably, in the first few years of your career versus if you're 30 years into it. And you want to know your value. That's why I think you want to surround yourself with people who are also going to tell you honestly your value, honestly evaluate your quote unquote value, perceived value. Now, when I say value, I'm talking about value within the business to a film, like your value as an actor, your name, your recognizability, your work, your career, your experience, your value. Please know, I'm not talking about your value as a person, because that's God's territory, and God has already declared to you your value in his eyes, and as a son or daughter of God. And so don't confuse the two. We're talking about business, but you all have value. You all are unique and important and have tremendous value and have a lot to bring to the table. Um, when we talk about the business, it's just a slightly different shift. So um, I'm always trying not to confuse the two either, to make sure that I'm not perceiving my value based on the way that the world does or the industry does, but that I can understand my value as a child of God, and understand what value means within the business world, and trying to balance those two. So, Holly, what are some factors that alert you to auditioning actors lacking experience? Um, Sometimes it's the setup, the technical setup. Uh, Although that's getting better just because equipment is easier and easier. Sometimes the slate can give you away if it's not kind of a very standard or relaxed slate, where you come across very confidently. Sometimes the slate can maybe give that a little bit. Um, and then oftentimes it's just the performance. It's a lack of layers in the performance, or taking everything at just face value and not going deeper, or not bringing anything else to the table other than what was absolutely obvious on the page, right? Because a lot of people can read the page and do the obvious. What we're looking for is the people who can read the page and go beyond what's obvious and think through what is happening in that moment, and what is the setting, and why is that person there, and what do they want out of this moment, what do they need out of this moment, what are they trying to accomplish. Like, those are the things that experienced actors bring to the table, and and understand how to incorporate. And I think when you're younger in your acting experience and your acting journey, you may know all of those things in your head. So you've, gone to class, and you're learning the head knowledge of the questions you need to be asking, and the tools, and the steps to build strong characters. But I think it takes time for you to understand how to actually incorporate that into your performance in a way that is honest and feels grounded. Um, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for layered performances that go beyond just the obvious stuff on the page. Okay, I see Jana. If you get a callback for a faith-based film, is it appropriate to ask them more about the theologies presented in the film? Sometimes I wonder from the description of theology will go into an area I don't believe in and would have to turn it down. Um, I wouldn't I would just ask if you could get a copy of the script. And some films don't allow it because they're trying to keep it confidential, or they may have you sign an NDA before they would give you a copy of the script. I wouldn't really go in and say, hey, I need to check your script because I need to look at the theologies and see if I agree with it. I would just say, can I see a copy of the script? And take it from there. And I you all make the decisions as to where, you have your lines in the sand for things you will and won't do, and for content that works for you and doesn't. And each person is individual in that journey, so you absolutely have the right to decide that the theology doesn't mesh with what your personal beliefs, um, and to turn it down. But you just get a copy of the script. If it isn't right, then respectfully pass. Um, but don't wait until the final time, um, where they've already narrowed down a bunch of people to then bring that up. And I would say just respect those filmmakers' choice as far as their content and all of that. So come at it from a place not so much of judgment, but more of just understanding if the content is compatible with the choices that are important to you, and the content that parameters that you've set for yourself. um, yeah, so hopefully that answers that. um, Michelle, and thank you, Anne. I just saw your congratulations for 30 years. I know, can you believe it? 30 years, it's unbelievable to me. Okay, Shazia or Shazia, either way, it's a beautiful name. In faith-based films, what is the ratio for union to non-union projects? I would still say that there are slightly more non-union projects than union, but the the larger budget projects are typically union. So while there are, if you took just sheer numbers of every project made in the faith-based space, then I think there would be more non-union than union, because a lot of the smaller budget films go non-union, either because they're intimidated by working with the union, or they financially just don't find a way to make that feasible. Um, but when you get into the more meaningful budgets, meaningful is the wrong word, but bigger budgets, a couple $1 million and higher, then typically you're union. I'd say even $1 million or higher, typically you're union. Not always, because there are filmmakers who have made it a choice that they want to always stay non-union. But So above a certain budget level, I'd say then it flips and the majority is union and the minority is non-union, depending on the budget. So, um, okay, Michelle, I see oh, there you, good job. How are you? I'm good. I'm doing good. Thank you. Coming out of a very, very busy season and yeah, getting a little bit of breath. So I'm happy for that. But thank you for asking, Michelle. Do you personally prefer working with actors with or without a manager? Maybe this is something without much relevance to you. Um, it doesn't matter to me, except that whatever rep you have needs to be he needs he or she they need to know what they're doing. Like they need to, if they're going to go into like a negotiation or go into a process like that or represent you on a business side, we want to make sure that they have the tools needed to do that. Number one. Number two, um, they need to be respectful of the project and the process and understanding that, and this is true, you guys, there are actors I can no longer hire because I can't work with their reps. And that's sad. And there are times where I know producers have gone to the actor, either someone they know or someone they just love working with, but their reps are making it impossible to do that, and have gone to them and said, "Hey, you know, actor, I love you, you're awesome, but we're struggling to work with your reps, and it may result in us not being able to work together anymore." So be I mean, obviously you want reps that are taking good care of you and that will go to bat for you and will, stand up for you, which is great and important. But I'm not going to deal with reps who are disrespectful or disrespectful about the project or treat it like it's not important or it's this little thing over here on the side, or who are being unrealistic in their expectations. They're asking for the world. And unfortunately, the actor isn't at a point yet where that's warranted, and are unwilling to come to an agreement or to a compromise. And again, you always have the ultimate choice in walking away, but the way that that business is conducted can make a big difference on um, our ability on the casting and production side to work with you again, and to continue. There are a couple of reps where I don't call in their actors because I know what it's going to be like to work with them. It's very few, I'm telling you. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps, and the majority of them are great, but there have been a few in my career that I literally, and then I had one where the producers told me, we will not hire anyone from that rep again because they are so impossible to deal with. So anyway, just be mindful of that when you're choosing your reps. And even when you're dealing, if your rep is going in and fighting hard for you on a negotiation, make sure you understand the tone with which they're representing you, and make sure that they aren't leading you a direction that doesn't feel right for you. So if they're saying, don't accept that deal, you don't want to do that, that's not right. Okay, if that's how you feel as well, then walk away. But if your gut is telling you, but I really love the role, like I really want to do this, or I really want to work with these producers, um, then you hired them. You need to tell them, look, this is important to me. I want to make a fair deal, and make sure that they're representing your interests in that way. So okay, Gigi. Hello, Gigi. We just got some good news on the film that I did one day on, The Perfect Christmas. But Gigi was a supporting lead in that film that called The Perfect Christmas. That's actually going to be in theaters in December. And so that was exciting. So congratulations, Gigi. That's awesome. Okay. When a project says submit names, how concrete is that? Is it okay to still submit? Or when it says submit names, is it name talent only? Sometimes it's worded as name talent only, in which case, obviously, that answers your question. Oftentimes, I've put name submissions welcomed, which means, hey, it's a possibility we could go above scale for the right person for this role. So go ahead and submit, those kind of those name talent people, because it's possible for the right person. Or I can put name submissions preferred, which typically will tell you that we have identified that this role, it's a priority in this role that it be a name. Now, the way that we approach casting usually is, there's, look at it like a pie, and there's all these roles that make up the pie. You go in with a game plan and say, okay, this role is, these are the most important roles, so they're bigger pieces of the pie. And then, it kind of changes. Well, if we find someone in a read who does an amazing job, and originally we were thinking that role would go to a name, but someone reads and we fall in love, and then it can shift. Or if financially we need to kind of shift the way the money is being divided, that pie is constantly changing and moving. So I would say, Gigi, if it says name talent only, then stick to that. If it says name talent preferred or name talent welcome, then submit away. And depending on the name talent only, and what the film is, obviously you've established yourself in the faith market and with certain directors and producers, of course. So it's not going to hurt you if you submit in that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you may or may not be the right name talent for them, but it wouldn't hurt you. But yeah, that's kind of the three ways that I put it in there on a breakdown to kind of help you understand. And it has to do with most films need some sort of name. Films of a certain budget level need some sort of names or recognizable actors in order to mitigate the risk on getting your money back for that film, and hopefully attracting distributors and platforms that can where the project can land, and where hopefully there would be a model by which the producers can make their money back. And talent has a lot to do with that. The cast has a lot to do with that. And so that's part of the reason. And I know that may be frustrating for some of you who are not as well established, but that's, again, go back to the beginning of our chat. That's the reality of the business. And you just need to understand that you, as frustrated as you might be that a certain role is saying name only, the film wouldn't be made at all if they didn't get a name in that role. So it's just not realistic these days to not have any recognizability or name in a film or a project that has, a budget of a certain level, because they've got to make their money back. So distributors, when you're going into meetings, the first thing is who's in it, who do you have in it. So yeah, so anyway, Venus, hi Venus, good to see you. On the note of not wanting to work with certain reps, if an actor is looking for another agency, how could they best determine the rep's relationship with CDs? I'm with Jean, so just curious for the future. I was going to say, but wait, Jean's awesome. If you know, certainly if you know of any CDs, or you have friends, then that's good. I think talking to some of their other talent would be good, because they would be aware of how their rep is. yeah, I don't, there's no perfect way to know that. I think if their actors are working and their actors are happy, and those actors are the kind of people who kind of have similar goals to you, not maybe necessarily on the face side, but just how they want to conduct business and who they are as people and how they want themselves represented, um, then you could probably take what they're telling you, your feedback, that way. Also, you could go to their social media. What are they posting? What's the tone of what they post? Is it angry and volatile, or is it inspiring and encouraging? Um, and at the end of the day, though, it may just come down to beginning to work together. And just keep in mind, Venus, like I said, it's a very, very, very small number of reps that are problematic. Very small. Most of the reps are either like no harm, no foul. They're great. They get the job done. They're respectful. And then there's the others that I just love, people of faith and not people of, who share my same faith. People who have foul mouths and are crusty, but they are kind and respectful and honoring of the work despite their difference of personal opinion with it, are some of my favorites. So it you may not know until it, until you're working with them. But look at what you can. Look at their socials, look at their other actors, look at the projects. Yeah, that's what I would say. Hi, Adam. Love seeing you. Love all the wisdom you share here. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad it's helpful. Just a quick technical question. If I know you're not a fan of ring lights, but I love your lighting on your chats, which light do you use here? So I use a something that is filtered more. So I think that's part of the reason that um, it's and I'm looking straight at my monitor. So I have the light from my monitor coming at me as well. So it's kind of a combination of different things. But I think there are so many different lighting options now, similar to Ring, but who, they're the rectangle panels. So there's not a set like shape like that. And let me clarify, I'm only anti-ring light when it's in a situation where it's creating a ring on your eyes that is distracting, because I just don't think it helps you. I think it hinders being able to connect with you through your eyes. If any of you were at ICFF, I showed some visuals and showed an example, just so that you could see what I'm talking about. Because when we're talking, we're connecting through the eyes. That's just the way it is. We naturally gravitate towards the eyes. And so if your lighting is creating some sort of effect, and really I've only consistently seen it with the ring light.
So once again, I'm not Bev. She had technical difficulty, but it's right on time because it's time for her to wrap up. It's already past the 45 minute. About to hit 45 minutes. So oh, I think she's back. Bev, you want to jump on and just close it out real quick?
Can you guys see me? Okay, so I think my computer is overheating. I think that's what the issue. So anyway, I think you heard what I was saying, hopefully heard what I was saying. And it's actually time for us to wrap up anyway. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. You guys are awesome. I love your questions. Honestly, I could sit here for hours. You'd probably get bored, but I'd love it. And we are going to do a monologue challenge soon. So okay, bye. I'll see you soon. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye. Love you guys.